There we go. I think that's it. Starting the stream. Can you guys hear me? If anyone's there. Oh, we'll shut off. Well, where I left off on the last stream was placing light blue stained glass for my candy castle. Now I'm going to do this around my base. I never really did a just a tour of my base, but in any of my videos, so I'm just gonna show it on stream with my single rocket. Man, I'm poor. Uh, Problem solved. I never run out of rockets. I'm making a base that I want to have feel like it's floating into the sky, which is why I made a lot of these islands, these floating islands around here. But I don't just want things floating in the sky. I want a sense of even stuff on the ground could float into the sky, which is why I made this tree with the leaves swirling around it. But what's fun about this tree is it connects to my friend Adam's base right here, as if the trees are magically connected. And this is going to get an overhaul. It's not going to look so square. But just pretend you're kind of going through the roots of a magical tree. And you come out here to the exact same tree. But this tree is over this. This is Adam's jungle base. It even this, it's huge. And even this part is so huge, I can't even render it all in. Uh, but see, the two trees are magically linked. I did a time lapse showing building my ore mountain over here and detailing it, but I never really showed Adam's side over here. He made his side with the details first, and you can see what it looks like with no details. It just kind of looks lifeless, like over there. But him putting a lot of small details rather than any big builds is what inspired me to do my half, putting a lot of little details like this, but no real big builds on it. The one with the big builds is this mountain over here. And soon, this candy castle, which is big enough to swallow both my mountains. You don't really realize how big it is until you look and realize that this could fit in there, and that mountain over there could also fit in it. It's huge. But oh, hey guys. Hello in the chat. There are a lot of amazing bases on this server, and that's what I wanted to show you. Um, let's see. This is Sofa's base, Sofa Autumn, and she is one of the most beautiful builders. Her bases just overflow with beauty. And at first, it may seem like it's generic in her builds. Like, I've seen that kind of cute cottage before. But the more you look at it, the more you realize what an outstanding builder she is. Because look at her attention to detail. Most people would just do cherry leaves right here, maybe some pink terracotta, but look how many things she just mixes into this one little spot. In just this little area, she's using like 10 different types of blocks for something most people would use a single block for, maybe one or two. And it's not just in this area, it's around her entire base. Her attention to detailing, to making stuff no one would see except for herself, or me as I fangirl through her base. Uh, it's just amazing. It's just the kind of builds where it looks great at first glance, but looks even better the longer you look at it. And this is another of her bases. Yeah, I'm just in awe. I sometimes come to her base to just look at all the little details and get ideas from them. Someone she builds with is Neil. Where where is that gate? Do either of you guys know where? Oh, I think I'm near it. Maybe. Yeah, here it is. Um, if you were to put a vote to who's the best builder on the servers, the vote would probably come out with Neil, Neelius the Third. He, whereas Sofa's base, it just looks better over time, like a stew that just gets more delicious. His builds hit you like a load of fireworks right from the get-go. They just blow you out of the water. They collab to make a build together. This is his side with the I don't even know what to call it. Skeleton, beautiful, creepy skeleton. And this is her side with the made from a million things. A million things put into one, and his is one thing with a million details in it. But somehow it works. Uh I just yeah, I really like the contrary palettes that Neil uses. He'll use blocks that are difficult to use just for the challenge of it. And he would sooner put out one incredible build rather than 10 okay builds. He has very high standards for himself. So does Sofa. I think that's why they get along. They're always trying to improve their craft. I'm not even sure if this is their builds. Like I said, there's a lot of good builders on the server, and here's another one. Brock. who's in this stream right now and who isn't at all embarrassed to have me showing her base right now. It's strange to say this, but Brock is a natural at terraining and organics. The reason I think most people aren't naturals at it and they have to push themselves to do it, even me, is because usually mass terraining and making organics is not fun. There's a lot of ones I've made, trees and terraining, where I've liked them, but some that I haven't, and I just do it to have the results. But Brock has fun making these, and you get better at what you have fun with. It's only natural. Um, so I would call her a natural terrainer and especially a maker of custom trees. This is her custom tree, her custom tree, her custom tree. Up there is an early schematic, but at this point you can definitely tell these ones are better. They're just warmer, more lifelike, more organic. Here's another one of hers over here. And she makes these in a very short amount of time. These would take me 10 times longer to make. So I just can't wait to see her base keep on growing. And here's my friend Reza Wolf's base that overflows with beauty, with just whimsical builds, very fantasy, set in a cherry grove. Beautiful lake. I love the happy gas. And I love how she put this dark skulk tower here when everything else is lighter. She knows how to place builds really well. I usually just cram my builds as close together as possible, but her spacing is wonderful. Was that me? No, no, this is your base, Reza. Oh, they weren't? Oh, wow, who could have done that? You didn't place them here. And, yeah, yeah, who could it be? Maybe it was one of your enemies. They went right outside of your claim and set these down and then, you know, found them and then flew them on in. Oh, oh wow, look, they have names. Looky there. It must have been Rayok. Yep, it's Rayok. See online no, but you'd better have a talk with him when he gets back on. Well, let's move on to the next base. Nothing to see there. No one pranked Reza with happy gas. They've been there all along since she built the base. Few years. Why did I didn't do that. You didn't see that. I meant to do that. Jump into the one sweet berry on his claim. This is my friend Adam's base. Um, our building styles are very different. His has more polish, it's fancier, less chaotic. He thinks in terms of city building. He makes bridges, paths. He's a survival builder. My build, I designed some of my stuff in creative. My build is made to look at from the air, but his is meant to just walk through. It's so big that I'm not gonna walk through all of it. But you can see mine. It looks good from the air. Um, and I'm trying to channel a little of his energy to make it look nice from the ground as well. But you can definitely tell I build with more height. Um, the hardest build I've ever had to make was this build over here, my monochrome build. Not because it was in black and white and gray, although that was challenging, but because I had to make things straight. I had to make the fast straight. I have to make the building straight. It is so hard for me to build in any kind of straightness that I was having to literally take crooked paths and force them into straightness. I am I am not a linear builder. Uh, this is probably my most organized build with a polar bear. What? No, no, no. I don't know what you're talking about, Reza. You probably forgot that you put the happy gas there. That or it's Rayok. It was named Rayok. Let's see. It's not just people's bases, though. Standard of building is very high on here for a public server. Like this is the spawn point. Um, but things beyond it are player made. It's just this is one of my favorite places to fly over because new shops are being made and people get creative. You see, it's not just a bunch of cottage shops. People, whoa, what the heck? I did not see that last time I was. Wait a sec. How is that? I feel like that might be a giant armor stand. There's no way you can make that with that diagonal shape. Yeah, it's an armor stand blown up. That is so funny. Climbing a beautiful gazebo like King Kong. Oh, yeah. Oh, Hannah. Yes, how could I forget her base? Um, hello, space. Yeah, that's it. This is Hannah's base, and it is the most beautiful girly base that I've ever seen. It is full on pink, cute, but astoundingly beautiful and astoundingly girlish too. She is so good with pink. Pink is such a hard block to use. You'd be surprised trying to build with pink. It's harder than you'd think. And she doesn't just do half measures. She doesn't do cherry plank stairs for the roof and cherry plank wall. She really digs deep for this level of pinkness. Using pink without just doing it for the sake of building with pink, making it look just natural and beautiful. I love that butterfly. Well, believe it or not, but yeah, I suggested chiseled bookshelves for this, and chiseled bookshelves is one of the most predominant builds in the candy castle I'm making. It looks like It looks like those ice cream cone grids on the outside. It's such a pleasant walk. The one the one pain with it is you have to orient it the right way, otherwise you're gonna see the book side of it like that. So when I set them up, I'm gonna have to make sure they're all in the correct, orientation. Ugh, yay. Who else is base? Well, let's go back to the shopping district. Um, I feel like that there's a real understanding that to stand out as a shop, you need something eye-catching, and there are so many builds here. Some of these have been here for a while, but some of these are very new. That is a very black build. That's really whoa. And Clippy, everyone's favorite builds. I don't know a single person who doesn't love this build. I mean, who wouldn't love Clippy? You can even clip that part and show it to someone who I know is a huge fan of Clippy. Smile at you doing. Okay. Let me show you my favorite store design. It's that saucer right there. It doesn't have the most complex gradients. It's not the biggest build, but it's so eye-catching. No one's seen it and failed to not go in just out of sheer curiosity. It just has the wow factor. You gotta know what's inside it. I think that this might be the most effective store build, not ones that are just super complex mansions. Those are amazing too, but this is amazing in its own way, and it's kind of, I won't say simplicity, but no, I will say that. Grabs your attention, it catches your interest, and this is one of the most effective store designs in the shopping district, I think. There's another store that I'm trying to find. No, that's just this one right here. The ore store. And now I'm gonna grab some flint and steel and I'm just kidding. I actually helped out with the design of this store, and it's because it used to be just a pool of black glass and black concrete, and I kept missing it. I don't think you'll miss this though. Uh, anyway, at all, ever. It's also one of my favorite stores because the guy who runs it silk touches ores and sells them. There are so many easier things to sell than silk touching ores. Um, you could just make a farm and sell stuff from the farm automated. But I just love the crazy effort he puts into keeping it stocked. and he wasn't my biggest fan when I was making my ore mountain. I just wiped him out and say, "Get back to the mines." Very lucky we have claims. This is the children's hospital, one of the builds I was first introduced to. Um, don't pay attention to that, or that. You know what? Okay, don't pay attention to any of this. It's a great children's hospital, I promise. I promise. Yeah. But in the end, the builds I like best are just the ones that people make by themselves. Because if you make it by yourself, you're making something that no one else has ever made, at least by one block or two blocks. There's a couple of here that I've seen before, but I'd sooner just take an imperfect build that's made by someone as opposed to a fantastically flawless build that I've seen before. And okay, okay. I did not see that. Wow. Um, um, I don't really know what to say about that one. It's a penguin. Yeah, no, brilliant observations about that one. This server never resets. Um, but how it's maintained even after years of never resetting and is very unique because when a server never resets, usually it becomes a flattened out lava cast mess. But what they do on here is they sell the blocks related to terraining so people don't have as much incentive to tear the terrain down manually as they do buying it affordably at the spawn point. Um, that's why you see all this terrain intact because people buy the dirt. They don't have to tear it down. And the other thing they do to keep it running after years of not resetting is they change the spawn point. Um, this is spawn point, not the first spawn point. Here's the previous spawn points right here. And they're about to move to a new spawn point. And what that does is it resets the economy because there's some real powerhouses on this server who are at this point pretty much dominating what's selling. But by moving the spawn point and where things are sold, it gives newcomers as well as veterans a chance to set up store and become the top store. Uh, but let's not fool ourselves. It's gonna be horror bad. There's no competition. Regardless of where the spawn point moves, whether it's into a lava lake or into the end or the void or the overworld, Horribad will always always dominate the economy. And I say that in a very good way. Like, Horvat is the engine. This comedy, as well as Horcast. I mean, Cassidy. That's what their store is. Horvat store, Cassidy store is Horcast. Spawn points reset, but the end does not. At least not for the first 15,000 blocks. And you can really tell these builds have been here for years. And there's some new ones, and there's some old ones, and oh my gosh, look at the gradients on that decorated pot. That is so much more involved than it needs to be. Made this. Rayak. Rayak is not opening a store that I don't want to show on stream for other server members because I want to keep the stock to myself. That store is actually terrible. No one visit that store. It's mine. I mean, I don't like it. Just don't go there. Uh, yeah, moving on to other parts of the end that are far more interesting than Rayok's shop. Some of these are definitely for, oh my gosh. What tryhard? Okay. There are some blocks that can be obtained for gold cheap at the spawn vendor, the terrain related blocks. Copper is none of them. So some horrific sweat actually grinded all this copper manually from a trial chamber to make this. To 1A? Don't really know that person, but 218, you're a sweat. GG. And when I call someone a sweat, it is not an insult. It just means they're trying way too hard, and I'm also a tryhard when it comes to building. But I would have made that out of prismarine. I'm not gonna lie. That would have been prismarine for me, not copper. Yikes. This is more of Neil's builds. Yeah, he always uses contrary blocks, blocks that people don't normally use. And if you go really close, you'll see what I mean. Who would think to use carved pumpkins as part of the orange gradients? Yeah, that's just amazing. Mm. I'm just kidding. Did you get nervous there? Uh, oh. Let's go to the end. I mean, the nether. I never said the end. I said the nether. You go through a nether portal, you reach the nether. Um, editor, cut that out. Sometimes when some newcomers are asking to see good builds, I'll say that I have the best build on the server because I built these. Uh, yeah, the Minecraft movie villager is short because when I made him full size, his head went at a render distance. I guess I could have done a dinner bone, so his head is at the bottom and his body's at the top, but his body would go out of render distance. It's interesting how these aged, because I made the sheep when the trailer came out, and I TP people to it and laugh as they screamed in horror and disgust. But after the Minecraft movie, was good, at least, I mean, it's not a masterpiece of all time, but it's a enjoyable way to spend 2 hours. It's like a box of candy, not the best, but hey, candy is candy, it's fun. These went from being freakish nightmares inspiring horror to, "Oh, that's cute. Oh, that's cool." It turned from a horror builds into comedy builds. I'm, uh, I'm not sure whether I like that. I guess okay. A lot of people have joined my cult, the bread cult, and a lot of them don't know that it's inside the Minecraft movie sheep. I TP them straight here, and they actually don't realize they're in a build that they've seen from the outside. Yeah, you have a nice night, Jen. Thanks for coming. Yeah, it's I made the bread cult because I wanted a bread related organization that had lower expectations than the infinitely superior bread club made by what's the wrong one? This is this is Emmy's kind of Halloween based. Emmy J50 is one of my favorite builders in that in terms of cute builds, these might be my favorite. She can work on a cottage someone else would work for on in 1% of the time, but the reason it takes longer for her is because she pays attention to every block she's putting down. If you count over the blocks in this build, it's probably at least 80 in a single cottage. She just puts so much love and care into her builds. You can just really feel it with any of her builds. Um, and she is the head of the bread club, where you have to go out here and find the breadhead in her adorable little base with the adorable cottage and the um adorable flaming creepy nightmare skull. And she loves bread to the point that she literally made a bread blimp. And there's a bread thing, a bread built, and who is putting these giant armor stands around? That's the bread head on an invisible armor stand tilted. Hmm. Um, yeah, bread. Wheat. There's the master of mold. Bread. Lots of bread. What I like about her base when you're looking for the bread head is that she puts in a lot of little dead ends where you think it's hidden, little places that you can go into that you're like, "Oh, I found it," but it's not there. Just little nooks and crannies everywhere here. So, it's one of the most, it's one of the most fun scavenger hunts I have done. That's not the redhead, that's just Fred. Because she took the time to do so many dead ends, elaborate dead ends in such a small space. And that is why I did one of my most successful collabs with her, which is another thing you've seen in the video, the bread hunt. She and I worked together to make this Greek style architecture. She made that half, I made this half. Um, Red Lonely Platypus made that floating island up there where you have to press the right button. And we made so many dead ends. Like, here is a dead end. Press the right button. They're all different buttons, but here's a dead end. Dead end. And the worst dead end. Down here. You float on down. Best part is a lot of people tried free camming to find the right button. So I put over here, because I made it impossible to find with free cam. I put down here this sign that said, there's a button halfway down the cobweb hole, which I'm at right now. Um, and there is a button halfway down the cobble hole. So free cameras would see that sign come and press it and realize that it did nothing, literally. And I just made them go down the cobweb hole twice if they were trying to free cam. Because I never said no free camming is allowed, no cheating. No hacks are allowed. They could use it. Um, but it would be very hard to find because it was this button. It's not this one. A lot of people press that one. It was this one. Can you see it? It's right there. Let me just, it's right there. And so many people, when they found out it was near here, would go and just press this. No one would see that button right there. It's pressed. So I'm pretty proud of this. We wanted to make it as frustrating as it was beautiful, and I think we pulled it off pretty well because it is beautiful. But we invited the entire server, and it took them hours to be able to find the right button. I honestly thought they'd give up because I put as a joke a lot of buttons up here. And I was like, once they get to these joke buttons, they'll give up. They did not. My server, this server is crazy. Start right here and press every single button systematically, one at a time, over this entire biome, clicking buttons. Mm. Yeah, that's when I really decided this is the server for me. That's it. That was a that was a fun time. But while my this was, I have to say, a pretty well made mini game. It can't even begin to compare to Donuts mini game. Donut spent a year making this. The prizes were 50 map arts hidden throughout this entire place. Looks like it's been deactivated, but you just go around finding let me see if I can find one, pressure plate, and a map art would pop out. And it was literally a map art made in survival with that much effort, but there was 50 of them. So not only was it immeasurably high effort in the prizes involved, because who hands out map arts like they're beetroots? It was also complex in how well done it was for all of the uh, uh, just I need carrots. I need them. Just going back for a sec. Thank you very much. For all the hidden places. Like below. Oh my gosh. I was so good at finding these places when it's been such a long time. Oh. I'll find it. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna use free cam to find the entrance I know is right around. Okay, I'm cheating. Well, let me just free cam the whole place. Look how much Donut did to make all this. Worked on it for an entire year just to give everyone an enjoyable few days and amazing map art. In fact, here's all the map art that was made for the occasion. Those are all the prizes. When I see a really good build, I don't get discouraged. I get fired up. It's just like it makes me so happy that I'm not the best builder on this server. At least not in my opinion. Um, because wouldn't it be boring if you were the best builder on a server? Then you have no one to aspire to. Of all those builds. Oh wow. You did? Oh, that's amazing. As if you're watching later, watching this far into the stream, I can pretty much assume that you're either Reza, thanks for being here, or you enjoy builds. And here is my sincere advice if you want to become a good builder. Build what you like. Build what you love. Like, I build a lot of varied things, mega things, terraforming, dynamic things, but there was a long time where I just built the same type of cottage a million times over. In fact, Emmy's base that I showed you, she just builds cottages, but she does it at such a high degree that you can do great doing just one thing. I'm just in the mood to do a lot of different things, but the best results come from doing stuff you like. Whether you want to build the same thing, whether you want to build just a hole in the side of a mountain and start mining down to get your first diamonds, then, try to make it the best hole that you've ever made in the side of the mountain because that's where we all start. That's how you become a good builder. Just keep on doing the stuff you like. Don't do the stuff that would complete a project or that you feel that you should do. Do what you want to do right now. Um, I've been designing this castle for half a year, but I haven't just been working on the castle at all times. Uh, I work on a ton of different projects at the same time, and this is one that has sometimes been in the background, just sat there, and it's like, there's no way I can build an entire castle. I told myself that so many times. Then I'd have 1 month where I just design a lot. But I always did what I was in the mood for. Like this monochrome build over here wasn't going to come out for another year or so. But then I was in the mood for it and it got done because I just do whatever I'm in the mood for. The volcano, 2.5 shulkers of copper bulbs. Yes. I also like survival because sometimes I do like to rack my brain and think of fancy builds or come up with clever gimmicks, but it's also just fun to grind sometimes. Just turn off your brain, grab your pickaxe, and I don't know, got a trial chamber, mine for diamonds, um, AFK at your moss machine because oh my gosh, yeah, this is made of moss and pale moss. 6 shulkers of copper, you say? Yeah, there are some blocks where I enjoy grinding them. They're not for sale at the spawn vendor, and you just gotta embrace the grind. But copper is not one of them. Add copper blocks to the spawn vendor. Solar, please, please, I'm begging you. If you want to maintain the terrain, the trial chambers are all eventually going to be gutted. It'd be good for the server if you put up copper copper blocks. It'd be good. I'm saying that not because I use them, but for the server's best interests. Get it done. I made this mountain because ores are something you can't just buy at the spawn vendor. But watch as next week they're like, oh, finally, diamonds available at the spawn vendor. No one would ever believe that I actually grinded these diamonds manually to buy out Mr. Tall Guy's ore store, make him go mine again. You sure that all that grinding is worth it for the diamonds, Tall? You're right. Yep. This is special to me because it's my first floating island. Um, I had made some floating islands in the past, but they were only like about as big as this gazebo. They were just kind of, and they weren't even really shaped like this. They were just kind of platforms in the air. This is my first floating island. Uh, and if you watch my stream, you see I use Easy Place where I can place blocks in midair. I did not have that with this one. Thank you for Easy Place because I was just scaffolding up and placing them against other blocks to make this. Even though this is my first island, I don't think it's the least of my islands. Not at all. I sometimes builds just turn out better than you think they would. I also wanted to make it because I wanted to make the coolest librarian trading hall. And there are some pretty wicked librarian trading halls, but I think this one is pretty cool. In a floating island in this kind of ruins. Uh, yeah, this is a pretty cool setting for a trading hall. Um, My last previous trading halls weren't so kind to the villagers. One of them was like a medieval torture chamber. Because let's face it, that's kind of where villagers belong. If you've ever had to deal with them. In torture chambers, I mean. Solar, if you put copper at the spawn vendors, I will make a mega build from copper. Until then, copper will be included in my builds. If you're on SSC, take a look at this part. My mystery boxes. I'll show you one of them. I'm actually going to be selling these regularly soon, but they're mystery boxes where you have to pay for them, and you have to pay a large sum. Like this one is going to be a stack of diamond blocks. Um, You'd be crazy to buy what might be a pile of junk for 16 diamond blocks. But the reason I'm able to sell mine is because it's actually worth it. Let me show you one. No one's going to be watching this far. This is the Don't Die box for 16 diamond blocks. And these right here, this right here, some of the other stuff in here make it worth 16 diamond blocks, and that's why I'm able to sell mystery boxes. There's a lot of people who tried to do it like me, high end, and they'll put in like dirt, and it's like, well, you made a diamond block, well done, but that's the last mystery box you'll ever sell. Trust is broken. They know you're literally gonna give them dirt and charge them diamonds for it. So there is going to be some high-priced mystery boxes. Since the server never resets, your diamonds never reset. You can get bored having too many diamonds of all things, and people spend them at a casino. Sometimes you only walk away with like 1 or 2 emeralds from those casinos, so I think mystery boxes are a fun alternative for high-priced stuff because you're guaranteed to get more, to get your money's worth, shall we say, or at least more than you'd get at a casino. I'm going to end with this. Here's my mansion that I created, my butterfly mansion. And yeah, I'm gonna admit I got these after the crafting recipe became easier. In fact, I've been spamming them. I love them. But if you don't know, please stop. Look up the new recipe. It's so much better. Um, Here is map art. Map art is my favorite thing in Minecraft that I probably will never do myself. Most of the things I love, I'll eventually do, but map art isn't one of them. I My brain goes numb from the sheer block placement, and honestly, even when I tried to use the map art tools like that generator, I failed like miserably at it. It's just more involved than I thought. But look at all this beautiful map art. Again, because the server never resets, it has one of the most impressive collections of map art on a public server that I have ever seen. And these are just my favorite ones, just like 50 or so. There's thousands of map arts out there, and people are always just making more. And that's one of the best parts about the server, the volume of map art and the high quality of map art. There's so many, in fact, that with my black and white build, I was able to choose a black and white map art. That's how much there was. Went around finding ones that were just black and white and hanging them up at that black and white area of my base. It is rough. Um, a good base is never finished. I'll always just continue working on this base, expanding it more, making new stuff. But because from what I showed you on the stream, getting inspired by other incredible builders. If you're watching this and you're from my server, I don't have time to show everyone's bases, but there's dozens of great bases out there that I have homes to. It just take hours for me to go to and look at. You guys are the best. Your talent is out of this world. And if you don't know what the server is, but you want to join it, it is Semisurvivalcraft. Um, it's one of the best places for just having fun building. The PvP area has keep inventory on, so if you're in battle, you won't lose all your stuff. And it's just fun for grinding. You can build by yourself, kind of like I do, or you can do collabs if you make some good friends. I'd very much suggest you try. And that I'll end the stream, and you have a lovely night. Thanks for coming on, Reza. I appreciate it.